back, everyone. Today we've got an exclusive with the coach of the Brown Bears, Felix Mercado. Coach Mercado, great to see you, man. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you so much, Wes, for having me. Excited to partake in this incredible event, and I've seen so many. Obviously, I watch all the other episodes of all the other coaches, so I'm excited to join that elusive group of great coaches.
Well, I appreciate that, and hopefully you follow. Our followers are growing and growing every day, which is exciting that the sport is there's some momentum here, and we love that. We're excited about promoting Brown. I got to tell you, you guys had a great finish to your season last year, finishing second, knocking off Harvard. This year, you started the season kind of where you left off. You're 3-0. I've got you finishing second or first if you can take down Prince. I've got you second right now in your conference, in the Northeast Water Polo Conference. Talk to us about kind of the high of last season and rolling into this season. You guys haven't missed a beat after this first week.
Yeah, no, the crazy thing about last year is we clicked at the right time. Obviously it's all about timing in collegiate sports. And we happened to play really good defense going into the championships. We figured out a couple of things that we needed to do better, and our shot blocking improved. And we got some really great, individual performances for some individual on the team that allowed us to be victorious against Harvard, a very, very good Harvard team. And, and again, we ran into a juggernaut in Princeton, and we licked our wounds and got back to work. I think the crazy thing is last year we did everything. We were able to be as successful as we were without arguably our best player, Jackson Tierney, who missed the entire season for injury. And he's slowly coming back, and he played a little bit this weekend. So I'm hoping that, with adding him to the majority of the team that came back, and we should be in the same position to compete. And again, we want to get to the top of the mountain and take down the king. And right now it's Princeton, but I wouldn't look past Iona, Harvard, or MIT because they're still very formidable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they continue to recruit and continue to kind of reload. Iona, Harvard, obviously really good. They're going to be without James Rosales-Hill this year, which you're, I'm sure, acutely aware of.
Yeah.
A big loss, I think, for them. Does it change the way you approach them? Because really we're looking at you're the big three in that conference, Princeton, Brown, and Harvard. Does it change the way you approach Harvard without having JRH in there? Or is it pretty much, hey, we worry about ourselves?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously they're a different team, but they're actually more dangerous now because they're a little bit less predictable. I mean, JRH was very, very dangerous at 2 meters on the perimeter, wherever you put him. So obviously we went into those games preparing for him, and everything ran through him because again, he's good enough to demand that kind of attention. Now they're more dangerous. I think they're more dangerous because I think Ted Miss is a great coach, and I think he's going to figure out a way to utilize what he has. He's got, it's still Harvard. They still have high end talent, incredible perimeter shooters. They're a pretty smart team, got good goalie play. So I'm not looking past anyone, but like I said, I also think Iona and MIT can beat us on any given day if we don't show up.
All right. Well, fair enough. It's a very coach-like answer for me.
You're going to get that.
I appreciate that. I want to talk about a couple of your recruits. Obviously, you've got Tierney. You picked up Hugo Molnar, the son of Molnar Tamash. Big pickup for you out of Szeged, Budapest. You've got a number of internationals. Has that been a heavy focus for you more recently, or have you always been this way? My knowledge of your recruiting is limited at best.
Yeah. I think the one thing that sometimes people don't recognize is that we get paid to win games, right? We have to put together the best roster. So I don't care where they're from. They can be from Hungary. They can be from Florida, from Texas. Our starting center defenders from the state of Washington. I don't think it matters where anyone's from, but obviously trying to pick up high-end talent with a lot of experience is only benefits us, right? So I don't go into any recruiting class, assuming I'm going to go all international or 50-50 or whatever. I go and just try to get the best players we can. And I think that's, we've been fortunate the last couple of years that we've been lucky enough to grab a couple of really good ones, but our domestic kids are pretty good too. So I kind of look at it like we're just trying to win games, and whoever can help us, we're going to get them. It doesn't matter where they're from.
Yeah, we have a phrase at the LA Athletic Club: as many as possible of the very best.
Yeah.
And so, right, it doesn't matter where you're playing or where you're from. We're here to win games. I love it. I love the approach. I love the competitive mindset. Now, you brought on a new coach. You talk about a competitive mindset. You brought on a new coach who I personally love as a human. I've gotten to know him over the years. Jake Hart, a standout from USC. Now you've got a really unique situation here. He's a standout. He was a standout at USC. He's coaching for you in the fall, playing professionally in the spring. What a huge pickup to pick up a guy who just was at World Championships with Team USA, played some meaningful minutes there as the tournament went on. How has he changed your program, and how did this come about? Because this is a huge win for you guys, I think, because his knowledge of the game is exceptional.
Yeah, last year I was, I promoted my current assistant coach to be the head coach of the women's team. And I kind of wanted to bring in a different type of flair. And I wanted to bring in someone that necessarily didn't have the most coaching experience, but someone that played at the highest level to so my athletes can relate to them a little bit. Look, I know who I am. I know where I'm from, even though I've been coaching forever. I know where, I know where I'm limited, and I, as much as I can push my athletes, I can never tell them I've been where you're at, right? So I want to make sure that they have someone that they can relate to or can relate to their situation, to allow them to be honest with themselves as far as this being a Division I athlete, right? So Jake, I was looking for that type of a player, and I talked to a number of, I was trying to convince Ben Stevenson just because obviously, and then, was talking to a good friend of mine, obviously Jack Coker, and Jake was working with Jack at the time. And I said, hey, if Jake's available, I'd love to talk to him. And, the crazy thing is like, I 100% believe that Jake's influence last year and our culture and the guys, he got them to believe, because he'd been there, done that. He's done it. He lost 2 incredible games at the NCAA championships that molded him. He won one. He was player of the tournament while coming in second. So he's done some incredible feat, but he's also very humble, as you know, very soft spoken. But his demeanor and his presence is just overwhelming and very impressive. And the guys really took to it. So it allowed me and having a softer, firmer voice in many ways allowed me to be myself. Because they had not saying that I was always a bad cop, but they definitely had an opportunity to talk to somebody that kind of, like I said, been there, done that. And he's an intelligent individual.
Yeah.
He's got so many things that he's interested in. He wants to be an Olympian, but he also wants to create a great opportunity to be on. He has an entrepreneurship type of mindset as well. He's really into, and he's a great coach. He's a phenomenal coach, and him and I have collab. I mean, I've been head coach, been doing this a long time, but the one thing I'm not a, it's my way or the highway. It's like nobody else has a voice but me. I actually think you need to have different voices to allow the message to be heard different ways, because it doesn't get tired and old, right? So collaborating with Jake, allowing Jake to coach and grow into himself as a coach has been, from last year to this year. This weekend we had a game in the exhibition game against Pacific. I literally I sat down and let Jake. I mean, I was the head coach, but I let Jake take ownership of certain things, because I want him to feel comfortable and know that his opinion matters, that he's not just on my staff to just sit back and work with our centers and center defenders. I ask him about 5-on-6, 6-on-5. We talk tactics all the time. We talk about his experience in Singapore. Think about it. He's played for Jack Coker. He's played for Jovan Vavic. He's played for Pinta. He's played for Dejan. I mean, he's been around some incredible coaches.
Good grief. What a line, right? What an experience. And to your point, right, he was at World Championships this past summer. You talk about elite level experience. Your players have to love that. But you were also an assistant coach. You and I got a chance to connect quite a bit over in Croatia at U20s. How has that influenced your approach as a head coach?
My experience with USA Water Polo it's been amazing. I mean, I've been really, really fortunate to work with some great coaches, in those roles as an assistant coach. I love being an assistant coach. I love just, delegate something to me and I'll do the best I can to it. And I want to be there to support it, but it also allows me to, I also use that opportunity as professional development. The previous year working with the staff of the youth team, I learned a lot from Nicola and Ian Davidson on with the youth team when we went to Argentina, and this year working with Jack Coker and Alex Rodriguez. When Jack asked me to be on the staff and he told me who the other assistant was, I was like, it's just literally the best opportunity I can to grow as a coach. And there's so many things I learned from that trip, from this experience this year. And I mean, we can talk about a lot of different things, but I think the experience, I don't I think it was an incredible experience because we were in Croatia, because we were in a water polo country, and everywhere you went, there was water polo, water polo, water polo. The event, you were there, the venue, it didn't matter what game. We had fans, the fans were there, knowledgeable. The amount of high profile VIPs that showed up, that were on that pool deck watching these games, was incredible. And then look, we were in a really tough bracket with Hungary, Croatia, and
Montenegro.
and Montenegro. Yeah, Montenegro. I'm like, it slipped my mind. I mean, obviously the Hungary and Croatia games, we played them twice, but it was one of those things. We are actually fortunate to train with Hungary and Croatia leading up to the tournament, and then we the Croatia game didn't go as well as we wanted to, but we learned a lot. And I'll give I think I've been around a lot of coaches, and there's no question in my mind, Jack Coker and Alex Rodriguez are just absolutely amazing. They're the things I learned about prep, game prepping, the things I learned about just we were successful because every athlete knew their role. There wasn't anyone trying to, we had one Ryder Dodd. We had Ryder Dodd. We knew who Ryder Dodd was, but we needed everybody else to take some ownership of who's going to guard, who's going to take exclusions, who's going to play on the right side, who's going to help, facilitate, who's going to go in there and when we need to rest Will Schneider and Peter Castillo, go in and get valuable minutes at 2 meters. And the guys that were there on that team, they all embraced whatever role was given to them. And I truly believe that. And obviously great game planning put us in position, and we should have won the gold medal. I think we had the opportunity, we had the lead in that game, and they went on a run, and but to be in that game and to compete for a gold medal, to beat Serbia in the quarterfinal, which I think was the most surreal experience, because one thing that I realized, that quarterfinal game is probably more important than any other game in the tournament, because
it gives you two chances to win a medal.
Chances to medal. Yeah. And just the emotional environment, with Serbia, after they lost that game in penalty shootouts, and our guys, and just the excitement it was just an incredible experience, without a doubt my best water polo experience, and that's a lot to say, because I won a championship and I've been around some great teams, but that was by far my best water polo experience, and the staff and the athletes made that possible.
I can't emphasize enough how much of an impact that you and the rest of the coaching staff had on that team, because the way that they played and grew together through the spring. I mean, we had the opportunity to watch that team through all of National League, right? Not in its end format, but there were a lot of guys who played every game through National League. At senior nationals, obviously, watched LA against them in the finals. And then to see you guys play, it was really a true joy and pleasure for me, because it's not every day the United States gets a chance to play in a gold medal match. In fact, that was the first time ever. And so to be witness to that was really special. And I was really impressed with everybody on the coaching staff. I agree with you. I think Jack Coker might be the best coach in water polo in the United States. I truly do. I think he is so well organized and whatever else. And obviously Alex Rodriguez he's been with the senior team. He's done exceptionally well over there in Pomona. So he's no slouch himself, but certainly a lot of credit to you as well to be a part of that staff. It speaks volumes to your knowledge as a water polo coach, Felix.
Well, I just try to do my job, whatever I was told to me, but I had the best seat in the house watching Alex and Jack. Obviously, Alex and Jack, played at Pepperdine together. They won a national championship together. They've been on various staffs together. They were part of Deion's first staff when he got the USA job. So they've been at this level for over 20 years, and I know they both look like they're 30, but they're just amazing, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Like I said, I had the best seat in the house, and yeah, it was just amazing. It was just amazing.
Wow. Well, I love it. Well, let's get back to Brown, because we can talk about that all day. Both of us having just a surreal experience. Talk to us about this season. You've got a tough schedule. You're coming out here to California in really a week and a half. You're taking on Air Force, Fullerton, LMU, who's good, pretty good this year on the upswing, I would say. Santa Barbara, who's having a tough year. You've got a chance to make some statement. Obviously, when we see an East Coast team come out west, I don't think the expectations are, oh, they're going to beat anybody or whatever it may be. I mean, with the exception maybe being Fordham these days, we don't see this a lot. But I'm a big believer in Brown this year, not for the least effect because of you, but also Jake and who you've recruited and just kind of the way you're getting your team to play together. Is it tough for you guys to travel all the way out here? You've got 4 games in 2 days, and then you go home. I mean, that's a hard weekend.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I didn't want to play 4 games. I didn't want. I wanted to play no more than 3, and I got talked into a 4th game. But you know what? It's September. I think the one thing about us, and it's obviously it's a testament to Dusty at Princeton and Teddy at Harvard, that we probably have the least amount of hours as a group before we play our first game. I mean, we literally had 12 days of practice before this weekend, right? And I know that Ted's one of my good friends, and we talk, and he's dealing with some injuries. I'm dealing with some of our major players are coming back from injury. So it is crazy for us to kind of have to play it to a level as quickly as we need to, because of our limited time. Even a team like Fordham, they're so talented, but getting a chance to get together in August before the season actually starts, that's such a huge benefit. I mean, obviously all the California teams being able to play club over the summer, able to play National League in some extent because of the proximity to the games. I mean, those are things that the Ivies don't have. So for us to be willing to step up in that challenge, I know like Harvard's going to play SC that same weekend we're out there, and I'm like, I want to know part of that team. I mean, I know for me, last year we tried it and we played a really good Long Beach team, but they blew the doors off of us last year. Like we blinked and we were down by 8, and it was really difficult. And I can't speak for the other 2 programs, but for us, we need the month of September to still continue to get in shape, get healthy, figure out how to play with each other. The one good thing that we have this year that it's different from years past is we've returned the majority of the team. Right. And so the majority of the team is intact. We still have to get in shape. We're bringing back Jackson Tierney, our top perimeter player, Matetim Chima. He's going to be out until probably the first weekend of October. He had shoulder surgery in January. So we're still missing some important clogs, but we brought back the majority of the team. Besides being out of shape, I feel like we're prepared to go there next, in 2 weeks and see what we're about. But nobody remembers September, as much as,
and I remember, unless there's a huge upset, right? I remember Pepperdine beating Cal last year. Yeah. I think San Jose State's going to remember their win versus Long Beach this past weekend. But for sure, fair enough. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you got to win your conference. Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeah. And so you're in a conference with Princeton. You get Princeton home and away. I love the way that you guys set this up. Do you approach that game differently than other games during the regular season, or is your sole focus on peaking at the conference championship?
It all depends. I mean, this year, the first time we played, we typically, because of the way, we play in the Northeast Water Polo Conference, and we have, God bless Iona University and Long Island University for having programs and supporting their programs, but they don't have the best facilities. They have shallow deep pools, so we typically play Princeton first at Princeton, and then they come to us before championships. I think the first time we play them, the first time you play someone, especially early in October, you just got to see what you have and what they have, and I think Dusty feels the same way. We're feeling each other out. And because we're going to play each other a second time, we get an opportunity then to make some adjustments and see what works, what doesn't work. And then we know what we need to carry for the championship, weekend. So that's my approach. But, I learned a lot. One of the things God bless Jack Coker and Alex Rodriguez, because I also learned, I was able to pick their brains on different ways to approach prepping for games early and late, right? Picking their brains for, how to, at that level, obviously you saw we were filming every game in Croatia. We were breaking down game film. We were trying to we're putting together scouts for shooters, every individual shooter, stuff that we do at Brown, but not to the extent that we did this summer. But it allowed me to see what more we can do to prep. And I feel confident that this year we're the first time we play them, we're probably going to have more stuff to show than we typically do in the past, because we're implementing certain things sooner than later. But again, we'll see what works, what doesn't work. And it's a chess match. we all have access to film. There's only so much hiding you could do, and and you have to play. You have to show your cards at some time to see if it works or not against whoever, and everyone's going to see those games. So, it's crazy. Like in basketball, I was talking to our basketball coach at Brown. They share every game that's played at Division I level. It's uploaded to one site, so every coach has access to every game. In water polo, it's like we're running a secret society. Nobody really you got to kind of backdoor ways to get film, and people, thank God for things like overnight and that we're able to get some games. But like this past weekend, and I know how expensive it is to stream games, and I know Teddy and I both go back and forth. We fundraise a lot to try to make sure that we can get every game that's played in our pool. But I do think it's we need to be better for our sport, and we have to stream all our games. I mean, it's just such a great platform, and there's no, again, I know how expensive it is, and I'm not spending UCI's money, I'm not spending UC San Diego's money, but we have to do right by our sport by really getting our product out there, because it's an important thing, and so that's why at Brown, and I know at Harvard, we go out of our way not just to stream our games, but every game, and we think it's important for our sport. And so, like I said, we're gonna see everything these teams have. They're gonna see everything we have, and at the end, it's one weekend, and you hope your guys are playing well and they're doing well in school. There's no distractions, and we're able to put 3 important days together.
Yeah, and I really commend you for the comment about the streaming. I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I just got off the phone with the CEO of Overnight as we prepare for the Reco series in New York in a few days. And it doesn't do our sport any good to have so much like mysticism around it. The fact that we don't upload all of the games to one platform, the fact that like certain games aren't just going to get streamed because for whatever reason, we're not helping anybody with that. Yeah. I'll go a step further. Maybe this is just me, but I think there should be a standardized stat that must be made available by every single coach around the country, be it, and I, there's a myriad of ways of stats, but this whole, we're not going to show stats or we're only going to show goals, to me it's not helping the sport. It might be helping you as a coach because nobody knows what you have. And I get that approach, but it's not helping the sport as a whole. So it's this whole concept of streaming to me is the same. It's the same because we need to be able to watch games to grow the sport. I really commend you on that comment and the fact that you had all of the games this past weekend at the Bruno. I want to make sure I get this right. Not the Bruno Invite, but the Bruno Classic is the first one. Bruno Invite's in a couple of weeks at the Bruno Classic. Because I was out of the country all weekend, I couldn't watch games. I got home yesterday, and the first thing I did, sat on the couch once my daughter was asleep, and I played game after game after game after game. I wanted to see everything that I could, while other games I couldn't watch. And that was really a travesty for those of us who love water polo, and it certainly doesn't help for those that want to know more about water polo if they can't watch the game. So I really commend you on that. Now, final topic, you've got the Northeast Water Polo Conference Championship at Brown this year. We'll probably have you on the show later to talk about this. But does that change, is that a big advantage for you guys to play in front of a home crowd? Are you going to pack the stadium? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to pack the stadium, right? But I don't know if I like playing at home. I mean, I love our facility. I love our facility, and I think that there's no question our facility needs to be highlighted for how amazing it is. We invested a lot of things in the referee catwalks. We have a great scoreboard. It's just a great environment, but I don't know. It's like being able to, I don't think my wife's going to let me sleep in a hotel during that weekend. She's like, no, you're coming home. We got 3 kids that we got to get around. So I guess it's not bad because we will be distracted, but I don't know. I also enjoy going into another team's territory and trying to knock them down and silence their crowd. I mean, there's a lot of plus and minuses, but in reality, it's not about me. My athletes want to play at home. My athletes want to play in front of their friends, and that's the most important thing. They're going to be part in. And look, we have at Brown University, we've made it a point the last couple of years that we are supporting every sport. Like this weekend, we have coaches and other programs and athletes showing up. watching our games, we do the same thing. And I'm sure it's the same thing. College sports is just amazing. The support that universities, it doesn't matter what sport it is. I mean, we can go to a field hockey game and we're going to be cheering for Brown, and we're going to be cheering for Brown regardless if we know the rules or not. And I think that's the beauty of college sports. So yes, I get nervous. I'm a very nervous fellow. I'm just petrified of things that are out of my control. And as a coach, we think we can control everything. We can't. We have to trust 19 and 20-year-olds to make the right decision, make the right passes, play the right defense. And we just sit back and grab a box of popcorn and just watch beauty happen if we're successful at it. But I know playing at home, our team really, really is looking forward to it. I know for a fact there's a couple of guys at Princeton who are looking forward to playing at Brown as well, because we do have a beautiful facility. So, but I love our conference. I think we have 4 great pools, and like I said, God bless Iona University and LIU for sponsoring water polo, and we're going to support that as well. And but I do think that eventually our conference needs to look to try to see if we can host a championship in New York. And I think that if we can get Iona and LIU to help and see if we can find the pool, because the Mecca of New York City and the amount of water polo alums that we have there, for them to just be able to get to our games without having to come to Providence could also be important. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not excited that we're hosting because I'm very nervous about it, but my team is super ready for it. Super ready.
Well, hopefully you get a chance to enjoy it. I know that hosting can be more organizational, kind of nightmarish than it is enjoyment, but I hope you get a chance to just breathe it in for a little bit and just take those moments, because it's not every year you get to host a conference championship. But very cool, man. Felix, thank you so much for taking the time. I feel like we could just keep talking for hours and hours and hours, as we have in the past. But thank you for taking the time. This is part of the show where we open it up to you. Anything you'd like to share about Brown Water Polo, we want you to be able to utilize this for a marketing tool, or just look, you're a pretty historic coach at this point. You've done some incredible things. What knowledge can you drop for us? What information or advice can you give?
Well, as far as, I think my university speaks for itself. I think that it's a very unique place, and it's obviously it's not just an Ivy League school. It's a school that offers a different type of academic experience with the open curriculum. And if you don't know what that is, you should just look it up. And I always say you judge a university by their alums, by how grateful they were of their experience or how miserable they were of their experience. And I can tell you right now, 99% of the alums, especially the ones that come through the water polo program, when you ask them about their experience at Brown, they light up and they're like, best 4 years of my life. And I think that speaks for itself as far as the type of university we have. And I think we're very, very fortunate. You're saying the one thing I want to add about us hosting that I don't have to worry about is we have an incredible aquatic staff. We have an incredible athletic department that 100% supports our sport and treat us just like every sport is treated the same at Brown. And there's no hierarchy of football or lacrosse or swimming or anything else. It's literally every sport is treated the same. They provide the same support, and that support is second to none as far as I'm concerned. So, look, I mean, I could talk about water polo, I could talk about Brown, I could talk about a lot of things. But Wes, I also want to thank you and what you and Clayton do for the sport, the exposure. We do need to figure out a way to get more people watching, more people signed up for it, because we need to show everyone. The one thing that's it's disappointing that when we do get opportunities to get on ESPN, right, and do this stuff, that we don't get as many viewers as I know are out there watching that should support our sport. And if we don't support the products that is, whether you agree or disagree with the host or the teams or anything like that, if you don't support these platforms, if you don't support the championship when they're played at ESPN, if you don't support the D3 championships when they're on overnight or anything like that, you're not doing our sport any favors. We're not going to move the needle. We're just going to stay as we are. And it's one thing to stay as we are, but it's also like, as much as we want to grow, we want to make sure we don't go the other way, which obviously nowadays with the dollar being stretched so thin in so many campuses, like I said, as much as I wish that other schools would stream all the time, I know how expensive things are. So I can't spend their money. But if people, I have a motto that I tell everybody that asks me, like, what do we need to do? I said, you guys spend money to make money. You guys spend money to make money. And it's just, you have to invest in what you have, right? And look at it as an investment to see the product that you get, and then you'll see how things are going to be easier in the long run, because you just got to give it time though. But so Wes, but like I said, what you do, and I'm not a big interview guy, so I've when you asked, I was like, but because you asked, and I'm like, you know what, I can't be a hypocrite about this either. I can't avoid it. I'm just glad that you put a lot of pressure on me this weekend, because I was like, I got to be on the show on Monday. If we don't play well, there's no way I could like. I mean, but we played so well, and we played well considering everything. So I was like, so relieved. I didn't tell the guys, but I was stressed out this weekend, and a lot of it was because of you and knowing that I was going to have to be on this interview. I was like, we can't underperform. We got to make sure that we play well, and the guys did a good job. So I'm very, very thankful. So they're not going to swim as much tomorrow as they would have if they didn't play well. And just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on here with you and everything you do for water polo.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know we've had a lot of talks about agreeing, disagreeing, and the way things are from referees to stats, all this other stuff. And if it's worth anything, maybe that pressure helped you. So we'd love to have you back on before your college championship, if that makes any difference. Okay. But you've done a great job, Felix. For somebody who doesn't like to be interviewed, I appreciate it, and I'm sorry for the added stress. My goodness. All right, my man. Say hi to the rest of the staff there, and Jake, thank you so much for being here. Good luck this season. We'll be watching, and I'm excited for you. You got a great team coming back. We'll see what Brown does this season.
Thank you very much, Wes.
Take care.
Yeah.